Hi, this is Fabio Murri, and in this video I would like to show you my process to compose the trailer track for this exciting collaboration between Vienna Symphonic Library and PreSonus. I composed the track in Studio One 5.2 using the Big Bang Orchestra Free and few other Big Bang Orchestra libraries, taking advantage of the newest sound variations feature and the large collection of plugins offered by Studio One 5. Let's take a quick look to the structure looking at the Arranger track in Studio One. When composing a track for a teaser or a trailer, it is useful to use a simple structure yet offering a good number of accents and shifts which are going to inspire the editing process of the video. In the intro, my goal was to show straight away the mighty power of the Big Bang Orchestra Free. The second section, which I named Chorus, is where the video has the highest amount of information. Therefore, this section is driven by percussion, which offer a great number of sync for the editor to play with. And for the end is always nice to find for something big and memorable, because that's where you pretty much always find the brand logo. So the intro opens with a single instance of Big Bang Orchestra Free, but especially using the processed classic big preset, that's more than enough to catch your listener attention. The preset makes good use of the internal plugins of the Synchron player, such as EQs and the Saturator, which we'll talk about later. The intro is then completed with some percussion from Big Bang Orchestra Dorado, snares ensemble and Moser drums, which I'm sure is the starting point in an epic track for every Dorado owners. For these instruments, I selected the Surround to Stereo preset, which takes advantage of the surround mics to widen the stereo image. In this example, you can see the use of the sound variations feature to shift the articulation amongst long, short, and marcato notes. The middle section consists instead in 4 instances of Big Bang Orchestra Free, with a sustained chord progression, a main melody, and some simple counter-melody elements. As mentioned before, that part is really driven by percussions, and for that purpose I took advantage of Eridanus, which offers a large amount of pre-recorded riffs which sync with your sequencer tempo. For Eridanus, I used the internal power pan in the Synchron player mix to create more space in the middle for the orchestra. This is actually something very common in an epic orchestral arrangement, since you just want the big hits and the low content, the very low content elements in the middle of your mix. Let's also notice I added some saturation inside the Synchron player mix for the snare ensembles. For the last big hit, I added the low bells and piano, which comes with Fornax. Let's listen now to the full percussion arrangement. I would say a modern trailer track cannot be completed until you add some organic distorted hits and sub-booms in specific key moment of the trailer. And for that, VSL Smart Hits really comes handy. But to do that, you have to create space in the mix for this super low content. As you can see, I added a low cut filtering pretty much to every track in the Studio One console, but there is a way, thanks to the Synchron Player mixer, to make that even more precisely. For example, the sound of Big Bang Orchestra 3 is really perfect out of the box, but in that track I have to get rid of some of the very low content. But the great thing of EQing inside the Synchron Player is that you can do that per microphone. That means that you can cut differently according to the different mic, so you can be a bit more aggressive with your EQing in a specific channel and more gentle, or don't touch at all another. And obviously you can always add later your favorite EQ plugin on the instrument track channel. I have to say I really enjoyed using the Pro EQ which comes with Studio One, especially the pre-optimized low cut curves that you can enable with a couple of simple clicks. Let's now listen again to the percussion, this time with the sound effects included. Using Studio One 5, you pretty soon realize that drag and dropping something usually ends in something creative. For example, let's take a listen to these smart hits, and then let's see what we can do creatively with that. Okay, let's now create a track. And let's now just drag and drop the MIDI event to the track. As you can see, Studio One automatically convert that into audio. And now I will just reverse that and transform that in a sort of riser that leads me to the final section of the track. As always, thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you next time.